So, last class we are discussing about the subroutines, is not it? So, stacks we have covered and the subroutines, and we can use these subroutines in many applications, but one most important application is the time delays. And already I have told you what is the utility of the time delays. Okay? So, particularly for microprocessor point of view, we have microprocessor 8085 operates in terms of microsecond, and we want the data as a human being in terms of second. Therefore, delay is very much important, and usually this delays either can be implemented using subroutine or without subroutine. So, the time delays can be generated in three different ways. One is time delays using one register, or we can use time delays using two registers or register pairs, or time delays using two loops. Okay. So, whenever you need minimum delay, you can use time delay using one register, that is sufficient. And whenever you want to have large delay or more delay, then time delays using two loops can be used. Okay. And how to achieve this delay? For example, we will go for one register, that is register B. So, initially we will load the register value B with an 8-bit data. Okay. So, here in this case we have taken 80H, and decrement B, once this instruction is executed, B will be decremented by 1, and jump not 0. Jump not 0 means until B value is 0, 0 flag will be reset. 0 flag will be set whenever this condition is not satisfied, that is jump on 0, or it will come out from the loop. So, jump not 0 loop is the label, and which is a 16-bit memory address where the instruction decrement B is stored. Is it okay? So, this loop will be executed how many times? 80 in hexadecimal. So, that is 128 times in decimal. Okay. So, 128 times this loop will be executed. Now, you have to keep track how many T states are required to execute each instruction. For move immediate B80H, according to our the pattern, since it is a 2-byte instruction, the first byte will take 4 T states, and second byte will take 3 T states. So, 4 plus 3 7 T states. Is it okay? As per our as I told you, more than 90% of instruction will obey this rule. Okay. Then decrement B, it is clearly neither 8-bit data or 16-bit data is present in the instruction, therefore, it will take 1 byte, and 1 byte means usually it should take how many T states? 4 T states, but there is a slight deviation, it takes 5 T states. Okay. Then jump not 0 loop is a 16-bit address, and this is a 3-byte instruction. So, how many T states are required? For the first byte it will take 4 T states, and the second byte will take 3 T states, and third byte will take 3 T states. So, 4 plus 3 plus 3, total 10 T states. Is it clear? And this total execution time of this particular program or sub program is the delay. So, how to find out the delay? This is the formula, the number of T states for execution of the loop, that is T states for decrement B instruction and T states for jump not equal to, okay, into number of times the loop is executed. But how to know the number of times the loop is executed? You can see what is the value available in register B. So, B is loaded with 80H and its decimal value is 128. So, 128 times these two instructions will be executed. Decrement B and jump not 0 instruction will be executed 128 times. So, finally, we can get 5 plus 10 into 128. But what about the instruction which is available outside the loop? So, this is the common formula total time for finding the delay. So, total time is equal to T O plus T L. T O is the time taken outside the loop. So, here only one instruction is there. You can also have more than one instruction outside the loop, and T L is the time taken to execute the loop. So, a T state value how to find out? If the clock frequency is given for a microprocessor, we can find out the T state. And since we are discussing about 8085 microprocessor, the clock frequency is 5 megahertz. Is it okay? And 1 by 5 equal to 0.2 microsecond. Is it clear? Suppose if you go for higher versions of microprocessors like 8086, 286, 386, this time will be further reduced. As the frequency increases, the time decreases. So, for particularly for this example, the total time equal to 7 into 0.2. How did you get 7 into 0.2? 0.2 is the T state value and 7 is the number of T states required to execute that instruction. In this case, move immediate B 80H, because in this example, the only instruction which is available outside the loop is move immediate B 80H. Is it okay? So, 7 into 0.2 plus the number of T states inside the loop. How to find it? So, 5 plus 10 into 128 into 0.2, because 5 T states are required for decrement B and 10 T states are required for jump not 0, and both will be added together and multiplied with the number of times the loop is executed, and finally, it will be multiplied with the T state value. T state value means the clock value, clock period value, that is 0.2 microsecond. So, this comes 1.4 microsecond and this comes 384 microsecond. So, total is 385.4 microsecond. Is it okay? So, we could find the exact execution time of this program, and this value you can increase or decrease. What how to increase or decrease the time? If you load different values to move immediate instruction in place of 80, but there is a limitation here. What is the limitation? Maximum value that you can load is FFH, and if you need further delay, then you have to go for time delays using register pairs, right. So, again if you need further more delays, then you can go for using 2 loops, or you can use 3 loops, 4 loops, many more loops you can use to increase the delay or to increase the time. So, the reverse can be also true. Suppose the delay is given to you and you have to write the corresponding program which takes exact amount of delay. Suppose this total time T D is given to you, right, and what is T D? Total delay equal to T O plus T L, and you have to write a program to you have to split this T D into 2 parts, T O and T L, inside the loop and outside the loop, and you have to write few instructions that will give you T O, and you have to write a loop, so that will give you T L, right. So, the reverse can be possible. The program is given, you can find out the time delay, or time delay is given, you have to write a corresponding program which will take exact the same amount of execution time. Is it okay? So, now if you go for further delays, we can, the second type is so, now if you want to achieve more delays, you can use the register pairs. So, the same thing is also true here. You have to find out what is the time outside the loop and what is the time inside the loop. So, how many instructions are there inside the loop and how many instructions are there outside the loop. So, it is clear from this program that we have only again one instruction outside the loop, that is LXI D 8000. This time we are loading a 16-bit data. In the previous example, we loaded an 8-bit data. Now we are loading 16-bit data, and since it is a 3-byte instruction, as per our rule, it will not take 10 T states. Is it okay? And DCX-D, as I told you again, it is not taking 4 T states, it is taking 1 extra T states, 5. Okay. Then move A comma E. D6 D means it refers to register pair D, and we are moving E to A, and we are ORing with D. What is the use of ORing with D? So, every time if you D6 D if you write, the E value will be decremented by 1 first until E value becomes 0. Then whenever E value becomes 0, then it will start decrementing the value of D, and whenever both the register contents are zeros, this loop will be ended or 0 flag will be set to 1. Is it clear? And when the 0 flag will be set to 1, whenever that D content is 0 as well as the E content is 0, then jump not 0 loop, and if it is 0 come out from the loop. Is it okay? So, the total time is inside the loop we have 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 10. These are the only instructions which are appearing inside the loop, and you multiply with the number of times the loop is executed. And if you find the decimal value of 8000H, you will get 32,768. Okay. And finally, it will be multiplied with 0.2, and this will give you 1,57,286.4 microsecond. And of course, you can add this value also 10 into 0.2. 10 into 0.2 plus this will give you the total delay. Is it okay? So, third type of generating the loop or delay, that is here you can see there are two loops. Unless the inner loop is completed, we cannot execute the outer loop. So, move immediate B, that is the counter for the outer loop, counter for the inner loop, and move immediate C, C is the counter for the outer loop. So, this is just I am giving an exercise, what is the total time to execute this program. Just find out what is the total time to execute this. So, okay. So, before going to 8086, what are the common difference between 8085 and 8086? So, the first difference is that 8085 is an 8-bit microprocessor, and why it is an 8-bit microprocessor? Because the ALU can process at a time 8 bits. Okay. But 8086 is a 16-bit microprocessor developed in 1978 with 16-bit data bus. So, there are 16-bit in 8086 there are 20-bit address bus and 16-bit data bus. Second difference, it is based upon NMOS logic, and there are 6,200 transistors, whereas in 8086 there are 29,000 transistors. You can see the variance. So, almost 5 times, but IC size remains same. If you see the size of 8085 and 8086 are almost same. Okay. And because of the 16-bit address bus, we are able to access 64 kilobytes of memory, right, and that includes your RAM, ROM, PROM, EPROM, etc. Okay. And here it supports 20-bit address bus, therefore, we can go up to 2 to the power 20, that is 1 megabyte. We can have 1 megabyte space in 8086, and that includes again RAM, ROM, EPROM, etc. Here number of flags are 5, carry, 0, sign, parity, and auxiliary carry, whereas there are 9 flags. We shall see there are 9 flags available in 8086. Is it okay? And here the pipelining is not supported. but here it supports pipelining, but only it supports a two-stage pipelining. What is pipelining? Overlapping the execution of different instructions. Okay. So, here data pipelines are not supported, only instruction pipelines are supported, that too in two stages. We shall see how a two-stage pipelining is implemented in 8086. And there is no instruction queue available. We cannot buffer the instructions, everything you have to bring from the memory, that is RAM or ROM. We cannot store the instructions inside the microprocessor, because we do not have any exclusive storage inside 8085 to buffer few instructions in advance. Okay. Even though 8085 is capable of executing more than one instruction, but because of the lack of buffer, the instruction execution time is limited. Okay. Whereas in 8086 it supports a 6-byte instruction queue. 6 bytes means at least few instructions you can bring in advance to microprocessor and try to overlap the instruction execution in 8086. Then it does not have segment registers, but it has 4 exclusive segment registers. So, what are those registers? One is called CS, CS stands for code segment register, and DA stands for data segment register, and EA stands for extra segment register, and SA stands for stack segment registers. And why these segment registers are there? Because the memory management capability is not available in 8085. Everything is to be done by the operating system. Whereas in 8086, some operating system functions are also implemented in hardware. Therefore, these segment registers will perform the memory management functions, the way the memory is managed, and the entire 1 megabyte space, because of the 20 address lines we have 1 megabyte space. This 1 megabyte space are divided into 4 segments. Some portion is called code segment, and some portions can be data segment, some portions can be extra segment, and another some portions is stack segment. And I will exactly will discuss how the code segment, what is the content in the code segment, and what is the content in data segment and stack and extra segment. And here it supports only 4 types of addressing modes in 8085, whereas in 8086 it supports 8 different types of addressing modes. Okay. And these four types which are supported by 8085 are also included in 8086. In addition to that 4 types, we have another 4 types of addressing modes which are usually available in 8086. And the number of instructions in 8085 is less. So, which instructions are missing? We do not have any instruction which can multiply directly. There is no direct instruction mult. For multiplication, you are doing successive addition in 8085, and for division you are doing successive subtraction, and there is no string instructions. If you want to write a suppose a name, a place name or a person's name, it is not capable. For that we can write another some few instructions in 8086, so which will display the strings, and we do not have any block movement instruction. Suppose you want to transfer a group of bytes from one block of memory to another block. For that you have to individually transfer byte by byte through the instructions, but here for block movement direct instructions are available, where you can directly transfer few bytes in one part of the memory to another part, that is called block movement. And here for loop what we are using the decrement B or decrement a register pair, then you are testing the flag condition to make a loop. But here the loop instructions are automatically available in the help of using the instructions, that they are called the loop instructions. So, by using the loop instructions directly you can implement a loop without using many number of or more number of instructions. And all these instructions, these are the limitations or these are lacking in 8085, but all these are available in 8086. Is it okay? So, this is a preliminary idea about the difference between 8085 and 8086. So, this is the register organization of 8086, which is also called programming model of 8086. Either you can say register organization of 8086 or you can say programming model of 8086. So, these are the total exhaustive set of registers which are available inside the microprocessor 8086. You can see here the register names are changed. Unlike in 8085, we give the names to different registers, that is AH, AL. So, AH means you will understand this is 8 bit and this is an 8 bit register, and these are the general purpose registers. Okay. And if you combine AH with AL, that will become a register pair and name is AX. Okay. So, here the pairing system is completely different as compared to 8085. Similarly, BH is an 8 bit register and BL is an 8 bit register, and if you pair them it will become BX, that will indicate a 16 bit register. Is it okay? Similarly, we can have CH, CL and DH and DL. Is it okay? So, apart from these 4 or 8 general purpose registers, we can have another 4 16 bit registers. One is called BP. So, BP stands for base pointer and DI stands for destination index and SI stands for source index and SP stands for stack pointer, right. And these 4 16 bit 4 16 bit registers along with these 4 registers. So, they are in one group, or if you say these 4 registers are general purpose registers. So, these are the special purpose registers, and why they are called special purpose registers? Because they have the special functions. This source index and destination index, they are for string instructions. These 2 registers are used for the string instructions, and base pointer and stack pointer is used for stack and base pointer also used for stack as well as the common programming or to refer the usual memory location addresses, 16 bit addresses. Then these segment registers are the extra registers in 8086. So, CS stands for code segment, where all the code or the programs will be stored, and ES stands for extra segment, which is nothing but the data segment. So, whenever the data segment area is completed, we can take the help of ES, extra segment, and SS stands for stack segment register and DS stands for data segment register. Okay. And IP is the instruction pointer, it is something similar to PC in 8085. Program counter in whatever the function we have defined in the program counter of 8085, it will serve as same function in 8086. Then instruction queue, as I told you, there is a special register called instruction queue, which is a 6 byte instruction. Okay. So, total there are 6 bytes reserved in the 8086 microprocessor to store the instructions in advance, to store and this is used for the pipelining purpose. The 6 byte instruction queue is available for implementing the 2-stage pipelining. Then the last one is a flag register. As you see from this, since there are 9 flags, we need 2 registers or a 16 bit register. So, for that we have OF, so this 0 flag and F auxiliary carry flag, parity flag, carry flag and sign flag, these 5 flags are already there in 8085 and it has same meaning. Whatever we have discussed in 8085, they are also having the same meaning in 8086. Only these 4 flags are special flags. So, OF stands for overflow flag and DF stands for direction flag and IF stands for interrupt flag and TF stands for trap flag. And how to use these flags we shall discuss whenever in every while discussing throughout this 8086, we will come to know how these flags are useful. So, next is the architecture of 8086 microprocessor. So, this architecture of 8086 microprocessor has two parts, one is called BOS interface unit, another is called execution unit. Okay. So, under the BOS interface unit, we have the BOS interface logic, we have segment registers, that 4 segment registers CS, ES, SS and DS that we have discussed just now, and instruction pointer registers. So, instruction pointer means IP, which is similar to PC program counter, and memory address logic and 6 bytes instruction queue. So, these are the components available inside the BOS interface unit. Okay. And execution unit, what is the job of a BOS interface unit? It will perform the fetch operation and fills the queue, 6 byte instruction queue when the queue is empty. Okay. So, as I told you, a prefetch 6 bytes queue is available. So, which will prefetch 6 bytes of instruction from the memory and store in advance in the microprocessor. And where it is stored? It is stored in the BOS interface unit, right. And it is the execution unit which will get the instructions or opcodes from the instruction queue and execute inside it. And it includes these components: ALU, that is arithmetical logical unit, and a set of general purpose registers and flag registers, instruction decoder, pointers and index registers. What are the pointer registers? Base pointer and stack pointer. Base pointer and stack pointer registers and index registers. There are 2 index registers, one is SI, another is DI, and of course, the control unit. So, in 8085 you can see all these are packed into a single unit, but here it is divided into 2 units. So, in one side the BOS interface unit, in another side execution unit. Is it okay? And if you mix these two, BOS interface unit and execution unit, so this will become microprocessor 8086. And of course, in the left side you will have 20 pins, in the other side you will have another 20 pins. Okay. So, because of this availability of 2 units, 2 operations can be performed simultaneously. Okay. So, while BOS interface unit will be fetching one instruction or opcode, during the same time period execution unit can execute another instruction. So, therefore, there is some kind of parallelism you can achieve, or 2 instructions can be operated, one will be executed, another will be fetched. So, this 2-stage pipeline refers to fetch and execute operation. So, this fetch operation and execute operation can be performed simultaneously, but the instruction which is being fetched, that cannot be executed. One instruction will be fetched, and during that period another instruction which is already fetched, that can be executed, thus supporting a 2-stage pipeline. So, therefore, the speed up, the performance as compared to 8085, it can be increased 2 times ideally, but this is not exactly 2 times, it will be getting 1 point something because of various limitations, and those limitations we shall discuss whenever we read completely how this pipelining system is implemented. Okay, so, next class we shall see how this pipelining system is implemented, but before that we should know how to generate the addresses, because the way in the address are generated in 8085, it is not as straightforward to generate the address in 8086. So, directly if you write LXI H 2050 and 2050 is suppose memory location address, but to generate this 2050 you have to follow a mechanism. So, the most important thing for this is mechanism to generate a 20-bit address, okay, because most of the registers as you see they are of 16 bits. Then how to get a 20-bit address? You know it, because if you see the different registers, they are of 16 bit, but actually the address must be 20 bit. How to generate 20 bit address from a 16 bit address? So, that mechanism we shall see in the next class.